So here I am in Avena Botanicals, Biodynamic Gardens, with one of my most favorite healing plants. These are the beautiful red Schisandra berries. And Schisandra is what I call these beautiful berries. Schisandra chinensis is the Latin name. These vines, sometimes called magnolia vine, long ago they originated in China. These particular vines have been growing in this garden for about 15 years. I've been taking cuttings and making new arbors, and Schisandra likes to grow up and out, either like grapes or up. On this particular cedar arbor, they're just like, it's like one of the most vital, incredibly vibrant perennials that I've seen in this garden. It just, Schisandra wants to grow, but it wants to grow in some kind of an arbor. So these incredible berries, look at them. I am just so excited. This is going to be our second harvest. We harvested our first 22 pounds about 5 days ago, and so we're always waiting for the berries just to get really red and to be just like incredibly, when I put a berry in my mouth, I love to eat these fresh. It's like my whole mouth, it's like eating the most delicious kind of sour, like it just fills your whole mouth with life. That's what the berries do. So making a fresh Schisandra berry tincture is the best way that I think of as making an herbal remedy. So what we do is I'll take the whole bunches. I just take the whole bunch just like that to be able to harvest. Thankfully, they all become pretty much ripe at the same time. So there's a really important, if you're growing Schisandra, to be watching, because they'll become red. They'll go from kind of a pale pink. You can kind of see this one here. And then they'll become red. And depending on the weather, if it's really hot and sunny, they'll come ripe quite quickly. And if you don't get them at the right time, they'll actually ferment. So you want to be really keeping a good eye on your Schisandra. So besides coming out here and nibbling on them, which I love to do, we make a lot of fresh tincture. I also like to freeze some, and then I like to put them in a really yummy smoothie with like blueberries and northern hardy kiwis and a little bit of like a frozen banana. They make an incredible smoothie also. You can dry them for tea, but my favorite way is to make a fresh tincture. It's so delicious, and every day throughout the whole growing season here, I'll put 1 to 2 dropperfuls of the fresh tincture in my quart water bottle, and I sip on that all day long. And Schisandra is known as an adaptogen. In the Western world, I think of this herb has been so beautifully written in the Chinese perspective, as they say it's an herb that helps to really steady the emotional or the spiritual heart. And in Chinese medicine, they say that the spirit resides in the heart. And I think so much of this time that we're living in, where there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of challenges, a lot of environmental challenges, there's a lot of social injustices everywhere. It's not new. Maybe it's just more heightened because of all the social media that we can educate ourselves about. Schisandra is my herb of choice. If I were to say one word about Schisandra, it's resilience. This herb builds an inner capacity to be resilient, to restore our physical energy, to also steady the heart, to allow us to really understand and hold on to what's most essential and valuable in our lives. And when we live with that essence of what's truly valuable to us, that light shines in our eyes. And that's what Schisandra offers us, this incredible essence. So this is a long-term use herb. We want to be using it every day over several months to really build that inner capacity. I also say it helps us to be less reactive and to be more responsive. And that's what we need in our world today, is people to be responsive and less reactive. Schisandra also on a physical level really supports liver function, really supportive particularly for people, all of us who are living in a time where we're exposed to lots more environmental toxicity. Schisandra really supports good liver function. It also very supportive for the lungs, helping us to take deeper, fuller breaths, which of course then overall, when we can breathe more deeply, we live, I think, in a more full way. So it builds capacity of lungs. And as I said, it also helps us to build a physical strength and stamina and endurance just in our daily lives. So as you can tell, this is one of my most favorite herbs, and I'm so grateful that it grows for us here in Maine. It is a northern hardy perennial. So for us here, we're zone 5. It will grow well in zone 4 and zone 3. As you go further south, I know some friends in Pennsylvania are going to try to grow it, but it really is a northern hardy, incredible fruit that needs to grow up and out on arbors. And I say to people, um, put your arbors up first before you plant this plant. And we put our posts about 10 feet apart, and then I have 4 grape wires growing horizontal for these plants to grow up and out. And it took me, I think, about 8 years before the plants really we got berries. So compost every year, ramial wood chips at their bases to really support good mycelium growth. And I think every neighborhood, every community garden, every herbalist should be growing Schisandra if you live in the north.